There is a reciprocal relationship between how much stuff we own and how close or far away we are from our holy center. Here are 3 reasons that it's so easy for wealth, and by that I just mean too much extra stuff, to throw us off our holy center. Number 1, too much stuff is a distraction to our mind. Experts in simplicity and minimalism write a lot about clutter, not just as in too many knickknacks on our bookshelf, but as in too many distractions in our life. The blogger duo The Minimalists define clutter as anything that does not add value to your life. Peter Walsh as anything that interferes with the life you could be living. Leo Babauta from Guam in his little book writes that clutter is a visual sign of procrastination and carries with it just as much anxiety. They are all perceptive enough to catch what a lot of us miss, that physical clutter in our home or our office is often a kind of mental clutter as well, which sabotages our capacity to focus on what really matters, which for us is Jesus and the kingdom. It's really hard for your brain to come back to conscious awareness of God all through the day when it's receiving electrical impulses nonstop from tripping over toys and searching for that lost t-shirt in the laundry room. Secondly, too much stuff is a drain on our time. Time is money, as the saying goes. More than a little truth in that. The father of minimalism in the kind of recent secular variety of it isn't Jesus, it's Henry David Thoreau. As part of my research for my last book, I went and read On Walden Pond, which is all about, his 2-year experiment of living on Ralph Waldo Emerson's property on his pond with just kind of the bare essentials of life. His famous line is, "I went into the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not when I came to die discover that I had not lived. I wanted to live deep and suck all of the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life. Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. I say, let your affairs be 2 or 3 and not 100 or 1,000. Why should we live with such hurry and waste of life?" What a great line. But I did not realize until I read his book that his famous experiment was a part of what he and Emerson called the New Economics, which was an attempt by early American intellectuals to measure the true cost of things, not just the cost in money, but also the cost in time and mental output. Think about it. Here's an easy example. I used to ride motorcycles, but when I got into simplicity, that's one of the things that I gave away. Now, one of the reasons was because my theological position started to change. I was no longer a Calvinist, and I was a father with 3 little kids and thought it's not a good idea to risk my life, at least until they are through college or whatever. But the other reason is because I started to calculate the true cost. The bike itself, at least mine, wasn't that expensive. But then there was money for gas and maintenance and a charger for the winter. Kevin Kelly of Wired magazine claims that for every $1 you spend on an item, you can expect to spend another $1 in repairs and maintenance over its lifetime. So the motorcycle that you think costs $2 or $3 grand actually costs more like $6 grand. But I also had to clean it and store it, not to mention ride it. So there's all the time there. And at the end of the day, it was great, but for me, in the cost-benefit analysis, it wasn't worth it to me. Now, I'm not saying to all of you motorheads that you need to sell your bike. What I'm saying is that we all need to take an honest look at how excess stuff is an engine to drive us to hurry and siphon our time. I read a study last week that said over a lifetime, the average American spends 153 days searching for lost items. The top of the list was sunglasses, followed by car keys. Finally, number 3, too much stuff is a deception to our heart. Jesus, in his parable of the 4 soils, gave a potent warning about, quote, the worries of this life, the deceitfulness of wealth, and desires for other things, which come in and choke the word, making it unfruitful. Wealth is deceitful because it promises what it cannot give. security, and satisfaction. This is why, especially in the West, so many people look to money and material things with a religious-like faith that it will make them happy. The French sociologist Jean Baudrillard has made the point that in the Western world, materialism has become the new, quote, dominant system of meaning. He argues that atheism hasn't replaced Christianity, shopping has. Shopping is now the #1 leisure activity in America, a place that was once reserved for religion. Amazon.com is the new temple. The bank statement is the new altar. Instagram influencers are the new priests and priestesses, and money is the new God. There is a reason that the only other God that Jesus ever called out by name was Mammon. He saw early on the human heart's bent to search for happiness in things which really are just trying to fill an inner void, that hunger and ache for God Himself. This is why, for the follower of Jesus, the question is not, how can I get more? More clothing, more money, more square footage. The question is, how can I simplify and live with less?